Let's not sugarcoat this. We need to talk about modern day coonism, not in whispers, not in memes, and not as a punchline. We're talking about the active and ongoing participation by some black individuals in systems, language, and behaviors that uphold white supremacy, often at the expense of their own people. Now, some folks will get uncomfortable just hearing that word coon. And that's fine because discomfort is the price of truth. But this conversation isn't about name calling, it's about naming something deeper. The performance of blackness for white validation, the betrayal of collective dignity for personal gain, and the centuries-old tradition of anti-blackness wearing a black face is the perfect way to describe or define coonism. This is modern day coonism, and yes, unfortunately, it still exists. To understand modern day coonism, we have to understand its roots. The term coon came from the 19th century minstrel shows where black people, or white people in blackface, perform exaggerated clownish versions of the lazy, ignorant Negro for white amusement. These caricatures were never innocent. They were part of a violent propaganda machine that helped justify slavery, segregation, and white supremacy. But unfortunately, it didn't stop there. Over time, the coon became less about theater and more about behavior. The grinning yes man who's just happy to be close to whiteness, the black person who mocks, ridicules, and or degrades black culture for a check, or the politician or influencer who co-signs anti-black policies, then hide behind, I'm just telling the truth. What used to be blackface is now a brand, and has rebranded itself through quote-unquote hot takes or facts over feelings or just being real. But the spirit is still very much the same. Performing blackness in a way that makes whiteness comfortable and anti-blackness profitable. Let's be real here. This isn't about just someone being conservative or having a different view. Black folks are not a monolith and we shouldn't act like we are. But modern day coonism is not about ideology, it's about intention. And here are some common traits that you'll most likely see. One of them being appealing to white audiences at the expense of black truth. Saying things like slavery wasn't that bad, or black people just need to stop complaining, or not to foster real debate, but to gain applause from the right crowd. Or weaponizing respectability politics, such as blaming all black America's problems on sagging pants, rap music, or single mothers, while ignoring the systemic structures at play. Loudly dismissing racism until it happens to them. These are the same people who say racism is over until a cop treats them like they're just another black body. Or echoing white supremacist talking points in verbatim, such as Democrats are the real racists, the black community just needs to take accountability, or there's no such thing as systemic racism. None of these arguments are inherently off limits, but when they're consistently used against black interests and for white approval, that's not free thinking, that's paid pandering. So why do some people embrace this role? Because it offers three things: protection, profit, and psychological survival. Let's break down protection. If you perform the quote-unquote good black role well enough, maybe you won't be seen as a threat. Maybe they'll probably let you in. When it comes to profit, controversial takes about race, especially those that attack your own, are algorithm gold. Some of these folks aren't confused, they're paid. And as far as psychological survival, if the world has told you over and over again that blackness is dangerous, uncivilized, or wrong, you might start to internally believe that distancing yourself from it is the only way to win. But here's the twist. No amount of tap dancing will make white supremacy love you. You are disposable the moment you're no longer useful. Modern day coonism is not power, it's rented relevance. This isn't just about individual behavior, because there is a cost. When people engage in modern day coonism, they become tools used to discredit legitimate black movements, confuse the public about what racism actually looks like, and undermine solidarity and sow division. And let's not forget how these voices are used against us when police brutality is discussed. It's not community leaders being quoted, it's the loudest contrarian with the worst take. They become shields for white supremacy, prove that racism doesn't exist because, hey, look, this black person agrees with us. It's gaslighting on a national scale. Social media has made this 10 times worse. Now anyone can go viral for saying the wildest, most self-hating thing about their own community, and algorithms reward it. There's a market for black outrage, as long as it is aimed at other black people. Meanwhile, the people calling out white supremacy, they're silenced, shadow banned, called divisive. Coonism has gone digital and it's monetized. The clout is definitely real, and then the consequences are far worse. Let's be fair here. Not every critique of the black community is coonery. We need internal conversations, there needs to be some accountability, and we definitely need growth. But here's the test. Are you speaking from love, or are you speaking for applause? Are you trying to build, or are you trying to brand yourself as, quote, not like them? There's a big difference between constructive criticism and calculated betrayal. If your so-called truth consistently harms, stereotypes, or erases your own people, you're not telling the truth, you're selling it. So what do we do with all this? First, we recognize it and call it what it is. Don't let these voices become the only ones centered in the conversation. Second, we uplift truthful voices such as those in the new black media. Black thinkers, leaders, and everyday people who challenge systems without throwing their people under the bus. Third, we show grace, but not excuses. Some folks are lost in survival mode. Some are chasing a bag. Some are just uninformed. If they're open to growth, cool. But if they're selling out for attention, that's on them. And lastly, we stay vigilant, because every time we get closer to progress, someone will be paid to stall it. As y'all see by the title right here, not all skin folk are kinfolk. That is probably one of the best quotes ever given by anyone living or deceased. Shout out to Zora Neale Hurston for that, because that is the definition of it. These individuals that we discussed today, whether y'all saw their picture on the screen or not, they literally may look like us, but they are definitely not invited to any cookout we might or family function we may be having. Because at the end of the day, modern coonism is not just a behavior, it is indeed very much a betrayal. But that's going to bring this commentary to a close. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.